Welcome to a journey through time and across a vast landscape that once housed a superpower. Our story unfolds on a map, spanning from the icy Arctic north to the warm Black Sea shores, traversing 11 time zones and encompassing numerous ethnicities. This is the tale of the Soviet Union, a behemoth of the 20th century, poised as one of the world's two superpowers. Yet every empire has its dusk, and the Soviet Union was no exception. In the aftermath of World War II, the Soviet Union stood on the world stage as a colossus, its shadow stretching across Eastern Europe and into Asia, a testament to its military prowess and ideological commitment to socialism. This victory, however, came at a steep cost. The war had ravaged the Soviet landscape, decimating its population and leaving its economy in tatters. While the West embarked on a path of recovery and prosperity, the USSR found itself ensnared in an arms race that would drain its coffers and spirit for decades to come. The Soviet economy, heavily skewed towards industrial and military might, struggled to provide for the basic needs of its citizens. Long lines for food and essential goods became a common sight, emblematic of the system's inefficiencies and the government's inability to meet its promises of a socialist utopia. Agriculture languished under collectivization, and technological advancements were often sidelined in favor of military expenditures. The disparity between the quality of life in the Soviet Union and the burgeoning consumer culture in the West became increasingly hard to ignore, sowing seeds of discontent among the populace. Enter Mikhail Gorbachev in the mid-1980s, a leader whose policies of Perestroika, restructuring, and Glasnost openness aimed to address these deep-rooted issues. Perestroika sought to decentralize economic control and introduce market-like reforms to invigorate the Soviet economy, while Glasnost allowed for an unprecedented freedom of expression, exposing the Soviet people to the systemic failures they had long suspected but could not openly discuss. These reforms, though well-intentioned, inadvertently accelerated the Soviet Union's unraveling. The increased openness led to a flood of criticism against the government and a public airing of national grievances that had been simmering for generations. As the central government loosened its grip, nationalist movements within the Soviet republics gained momentum. The Baltic states, with their distinct cultural and historical identities, became the vanguard of the independence movement. The spirit of nationalism, once suppressed by the iron hand of Moscow, now found expression in a populace emboldened by Gorbachev's reforms. This burgeoning desire for autonomy and self-determination was mirrored in other republics, from the Caucasus to Central Asia, each awakening to the possibility of a future outside the Soviet fold. The seeds of dissolution, sown in the aftermath of war and watered by the policies of Perestroika and Glasnost, had taken root. The Soviet Union, an empire built on the ideals of unity and socialism, found itself confronted by the very forces it had sought to suppress: nationalism, economic discontent, and a yearning for freedom. As the 1980s drew to a close, the stage was set for the final act in the drama of the Soviet Union, a spectacle that would captivate the world and forever alter the course of history. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 symbolized the disintegration of communist dominance, reverberating through the power halls of Moscow and igniting aspirations across its republics. By 1990, the Baltic states expressed their longing for freedom through the peaceful Baltic Way protest. The economic strain deepened, with the populace enduring lengthy queues for basic necessities, pushing the political elite to a pivotal junction. August 1991 witnessed a desperate attempt to reclaim control via a coup, which spectacularly backfired, fueling the independence movement. Boris Yeltsin's defiant stance atop a tank outside the Russian parliament marked the symbolic resistance against the Soviet regime. By December 1991, the Soviet banner was lowered for the final time, supplanted by the Russian Federation's tricolor. The once sprawling Soviet Union fragmented into 15 independent states, marking a tumultuous yet significant transition that reshaped not just a region, but the entire global order. The Soviet Union's disintegration teaches us the potent mix of reform's power and peril. the indomitable human spirit's quest for freedom, and the challenges of governing a diverse empire. Its collapse, propelled by its own people, economic realities, and the inexorable march of history, closed the chapter on the Cold War era, ushering in a new global political landscape. This seismic shift wasn't merely an end, but a stark reminder that empires, regardless of their might, are not immune to the winds of change. As we reflect on this monumental period, it becomes evident that the Soviet Union's story is more than a historical footnote. It's a lesson on the life cycle of empires and the constant of change. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. If this deep dive into the past has piqued your interest, make sure to subscribe to Historical Atlas for more insights into the pivotal moments that have defined our history. Until our next journey, keep delving into the past, and may your curiosity lead you to new discoveries.